As an entrepreneur, do you struggle inside the prison of guilt as you try to balance your business and personal life? If you constantly experience that gut-wrenching feeling as you judge yourself for not being supermom, wonder spouse, or Rachel from Friends to your bestie while you hustle, you're not alone. Stick around and learn the strategies I use to help the top 1% entrepreneurs crush guilt. Hi, Chris here. Welcome to another episode of Perfect Mondays, where I share with driven women entrepreneurs with service businesses how you can gain significantly more freedom, triple your revenue while working half the time. Imagine you're running your business. You promise someone you love, like your child or significant other, you're gonna do something with them, but something unexpected happens. A crisis, a client's having a meltdown, or you're simply swamped. You're already feeling stressed, and on top of that comes a feeling that smacks you down. It comes and bites you in the rear at the worst possible moments when you're already feeling like crap. Why is letting go of this emotion so important? Because if you're like me, you didn't come here to suffer. In my experience helping entrepreneurs, the more pain you attach to your business with emotions like guilt, the harder it is to grow it. If you experience guilt often, you might suffer from something I call OBDAS. And no, this isn't a rare disease. It's short for Oscar's Best Director Award Syndrome. And if you learn how to manage this, it will drastically reduce you feeling like crap. More on that in just a bit. I'm also going to take a stab in the dark and guess that you don't use a world outcome activity strategy to connect more deeply with the people you care about and drastically reduce your guilt. I'm going to explain both of these things in today's video, but first let's take a look at your brain and understand how guilt affects you. Guilt happens when you believe you've caused harm to someone, and the magic word here is believe. It doesn't matter if it's true or not, as long as you think it is. Guilt takes place in an almond-shaped area of your brain called the amygdala, where you also experience fear. Think of the amygdala as a factory that processes emotion, memories, and how you respond to your environment. So let's say you believe you let someone down. Your amygdala sends a signal to your prefrontal cortex to analyze that information, and depending on what the answer is going to determine how you feel and ultimately what you do about it. Although guilt is your brain's positive attempt to help you do the right thing, this emotion is so often blown out of proportion that many times it's hard to let it go. Before I share 3 strategies that I use to end guilt with top entrepreneurs earning 7 and 8 figures yearly revenues, if you constantly feel this way, the first area that needs major change is how you manage your time. Although this video is not about that, if you want to create way more freedom and work a lot smarter instead of harder, click on the first link underneath the description of this video and you're gonna see a page that looks like this. And when you enter your name and email, you get instant access to my masterclass to learn how to literally cut your work week in half. The first strategy to stop feeling guilty is identify your movie. Remember how I said you might suffer from OBDAS, Oscar's Best Director Award Syndrome? Entrepreneurs are creative by nature, meaning they can imagine many things that don't exist. This is a double-edged sword that you can use to create, but also to stab yourself in the heart when you feel you've hurt someone you love. What I want you to do is think of a typical week and write down the most significant moments when you feel guilt and what triggers those moments. Maybe it's when your son or daughter says, "Mommy, you're always working late." Perhaps it's a piercing look in your significant other's eyes when you say you can't do something because you're working on a new project. Or the tone in the text message that a friend sends you when you keep putting them off for lunch, or she feels you can't be there for her. You get the idea. I want you to write down those moments that make you feel guilty along with the action or trigger that starts it. The Oscar's Best Director Award Syndrome is when you create a full-blown Hollywood production in your mind about that situation. You hear yourself saying no to someone you love, and the dramatic director within cues dramatic music with a 100-piece orchestra followed by a slow motion montage of you on the gigantic IMAX screen of your mind failing at life, and then you play this little drama on repeat throughout your day. Sound familiar? So the second thing I want you to do is put your creative hat on, and for each one of these recurring significant moments, I want you to come up with a descriptive name for that movie the way that you really feel. This isn't something you're going to share with anyone, so go full out and don't hold back. For example, let's say that you have a teenage daughter and you believe you let her down constantly and she makes sure that you know about it. So perhaps this movie is called Bitch Mom, How I F***ed Up My Daughter. Let's say you have been putting up something important with your significant other because you're swamped. Maybe your name for the movie is The Bomb, How I Shattered My Marriage into a Million Pieces. Or if you're writing about your bestie, maybe it's Heartless, How I Emotionally Stabbed the Best Friend I Took for Granted. None of these may be true, but I want you to write a big, crappy movie title in the style of the drama that you tell yourself when you feel like the worst person on earth at those significant moments. Listen, if you're gonna be mean to yourself, you might as well be honest about it and know exactly what you're doing. Now, you might be saying, Chris, is this silly exercise going to stop me from feeling guilt? The answer is this will definitely help you interrupt the pattern much faster. This step will do 2 things. If you say the movie out loud when you start feeling guilty, it will help you see how much you might be blowing these events out of proportion and help you bring awareness so you can start interrupting those patterns when you get triggered. I want you to be more playful and lighthearted in life, and this will definitely help. The second strategy is to upgrade your movie by adopting something I call a world outcome activity strategy. This has 2 parts. The first one is for world. This means means you need to enter the world of the person you want to stop feeling guilty about more frequently. One of the best antidotes to stop feeling guilty is to be present for the people we love in the form that they need to receive it, not the way we may be used to showing up for them. So entering in their world means doing things they love. Let's say that you have a child who's totally into video games. Have you considered learning about the specific games they play or asking them to teach you to play that game they love? If you did this, that child would open up to you way more because you're using the key he or she uses to connect with something meaningful to them. If you have a significant other or best friend, what type of things are they into? What activities do they love that you could do with them to make them feel significant? The second part of this strategy is the outcome activity, which means planning your outcomes for the people you love with presence and focus to create a deeper connection. Let's say you feel like you haven't spent much time with your children. When you're planning your week, I want you to think about the type of experiences you want to create with them for that specific week. In other words, the ultimate outcome you want to experience when you connect with your children. So ask yourself, what is my outcome for name of person? Maybe you want to have the most fun afternoon ever. Perhaps you want to have a creative experience where you all use your imagination. Possibly you want to make them feel like they're the most important people in your world, or you might want to connect to them through service. Each one of these outcomes is unique, and each one has a different set of activities that you could do to accomplish that goal. For example, if you want to connect through fun, maybe you could go to a mini golf with them. Or if you want to connect through service, maybe you can feed the homeless together or volunteer in a shelter. Maybe you want to connect through creativity. Then you get to build something together. If you want to make them feel like they're the most important humans in your world, maybe you cook something for them or you take them to the favorite spot in the city. By planning the outcomes for the different experiences you want to have in advance in a given week, you release the guilt you typically have when you invest time working on your business or say no when something changes because you know you will connect in a meaningful way later on. Using the world outcome activity strategy by asking what is your world and what is my outcome is like consciously sharing the most delicious fresh home-cooked meal with the people you love instead of feeding them an old stale fast food meal. The third strategy is to practice self-compassion. If we were looking at a color wheel and guilt was on this side, self-compassion would be on the opposite side. One of the most effective ways to let go of the most negative emotions is by radically aligning the electrical frequency in your brain with the magnetic field of your heart and getting to your emotional center where you can be more neutral and objective. You might be saying, awesome Chris, but how do you do that in practice? Gratitude. But the specific way in which I want you to do this is by taking 3 to 5 minutes to center yourself, choose a song that makes you feel inspired, and close your eyes to connect with at least 3 different things in your life that you feel grateful for or you could feel grateful for if you wanted to. The key to this exercise is not to list a bunch of items, but to use that amazing director brain of yours and immerse yourself in the actions, people, or things that you're grateful for to the point of feeling an emotional connection. When you're doing this, you're resetting your brain and your heart, and you're physically changing the electromagnetic field in your body, the way your brain processes information, and most importantly, the way you feel and the quality of new ideas that you may have. Let's make a quick recap of the 3 strategies. The first one is to identify your movie, and when you're feeling guilty, say the movie out loud and interrupt your pattern. 2, to upgrade your movie by adopting a world outcome activity strategy for the person or the people you're feeling guilty about. 3, practice self-compassion by stepping into gratitude. I want to remind you that if you're struggling through guilt consistently, the most important step is to master your time. When you click on the first link underneath the description of this video, you will have access to my masterclass to gain significantly more freedom and cut your workweek in half and gain the insights to apply this in your life and business. If you find this useful and want to get more strategies to have a significantly more profitable business, hit that like button so I know this is the type of content you want, and subscribe to my channel so you can hear my videos when they come out. Last but not least, if you're a woman entrepreneur and you're sick and tired of banging your head against the wall trying to grow your service business and you want to save years of pain and you want me to help you to personally guide you to solve difficult problems in your business so you can have a lot more fun and a lot more freedom in the way that I've supported hundreds of women entrepreneurs in 12 countries, hit the second link underneath the description of this video so we can explore if we're a good fit to work together. Thank you for watching this, and remember that life is way too short, so love your life and love your business.